Hey there, today is Saturday and it is August 8th. A lot to talk about. President Trump just signed 4 executive orders, and it'll be interesting to see if him just bypassing Congress is legitimate and if he thinks he has the power to do this. I mean, it is unfortunate because the Democrats wanted to pass a bill. They went down $1 trillion in spending. The Republicans failed to negotiate. I think that they just gave up and Mark Meadows just said, I quit or whatever, because he knew that Trump was going to do this workaround an executive order, and it prevented any sort of negotiations from going further. However, because they didn't negotiate and because they went and did things on their own, which is illegal, by the way, there will be no stimulus checks. There'll be no money for state budgets, no money for testing and tracings, no HEROES payments, no more EIDL, and the list goes on and on. No CDC funding. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. What about that? He signed an executive order for rent moratoriums and student loans. Those are all for landlords who hold mortgages with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they're for student loans that are for federal. It does not include private loans on either case. So he signed a law into effect, or an executive order, until December 31st. And the other order that he signed was for unemployment, to give $400 a week extra. It's not quite the $600 that people are used to, but it's $400, and apparently it's coming from part from the federal government and part from the states. So I don't know where the states are going to get the money from. The states have nothing in their budget. You know, the governors might not agree to that. I don't know what's going to happen, and this could take months in court. I mean, there is no, the presidency cannot authorize spending like that. I mean, he's saying that there's money left over from the previous bill that hasn't been spent, but that doesn't give him the authority to redirect that money and spend it any way he wants. I mean, there's no full authority. The president doesn't have it. That's why we have a Congress, and that's why we have a Senate, and you can't bypass that. And this is going to be tied up in the courts for a long time. And it's unconstitutional is what it is. You just can't do that. I mean, that's like appropriating money because you feel like it should be going somewhere else. No, you can't do that. It's never been done. This is like historical crap. And it's unfortunate because recess starts tomorrow, or it started today. And if they go on recess, they don't come back for 30 days. They're not back until the 8th of September. That means they take a 30-day holiday. And all those other things I mentioned, no CDC funding, no EIDL, no HEROES pay, no stimulus checks, no money for states and schools. I mean, schools are opening up. So by doing this, the Republicans cease their negotiations. There's just no negotiation. You know, it's like buying something. Oh, I want to only spend $10 on this, and the seller's at $20, and you know, the buyer comes up to 15 and says, I'll meet you halfway, and the seller says, nope, forget it, you know, just go away. I don't care. I don't know. There's so much going on in the world, and it's really, really scary stuff. We'll talk about the virus and a vaccine, and it says, Anthony Fauci says, chance of a coronavirus vaccine highly effective is not likely. All right, so they're saying that even if they get a vaccine, it is only going to be 50 to 60% effective. If you think that it's going to be a 98% chance of you not getting the virus, you're mistaken. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but the FDA said it will authorize the vaccine as long as it is 50% effective. Okay, so you think there's going to be a recovery after a 50% virus vaccine is available? You think people are still going to feel safe and go out? And Donald Trump says the comeback won't take very long. He assured Americans that it's his stock market and that it's his economy and that it's going to keep growing, and he thinks that this is all on him. I'm telling you, the economy was in bad shape before this whole pandemic began. The economy has been in bad shape for a few years now. I mean, everything has been declining. This stock market stuff is just a facade. It's a smokescreen again. It's just nothing is real. There was a small uptake in June and more traffic in June in retail and in restaurants. Even in airfare, there was a small uptake, but now everything is leveling off and it's reversing, and that is not thriving. I mean, even this executive order I get, how are the airlines going to be protected? Their stimulus ends on October 1st, and even then, Delta Airlines is asking flight attendants and other employees to take furlough, to take weeks off without pay. All right, so you take 2 weeks off, and then the other 50% take the other 2 weeks off just to save money. So how can you buy a house or buy a car not knowing if you're going to even have a job? Furloughed, that doesn't mean, everyone's hours are getting cut. You have a job, but you used to work 40 hours and now you're working 20, or you used to work 20 hours and now you're working 10. I mean, you go to malls and you go to stores and their hours are reduced. They used to be open 10 to 9. Now they're open 12 to 7. I'm sorry, but that's 4 hours a day. It's 28 hours a week that are gone from staffing. People are still working as much? No, they're not. People aren't earning as much. There is no recovery. And I'm sorry, but this executive order, it might sound all great, but I'm sorry, there's a lot that's missing in it. And if Congress is going to go on recess and the Republicans are not going to negotiate with the Democrats came down $1 trillion. $1 trillion. The Republicans haven't budged, and they need to budge. This is going to be tied up in the courts. This is unprecedented. It's history. History like we've never seen it before. And who's going to pay for this? I don't know. The states can't pay more for unemployment benefits. I'm telling you that. They just can't. Anyway, we'll see what Congress does. Congress is both the Congress and the Senate, and you can't blame one side over the other because it takes two to negotiate a plan, and you can't blame one for not making it happen. There are two sides. All right, we'll see what happens next week. Stay safe and enjoy your weekend. God bless.